Hello friends, how you doing today? Welcome to my channel. This is Sherry and I hope you're having a good day. So I'm here today for Wallpaper Wednesday. It's a new open collab. I think it was started last Wednesday by Jovi at Creating with Jovi. So I'll have her channel linked below so you can see the other participants. Just go over there, check her out, give everybody some crafty love, subscribe, like, comment, all that's good stuff. So what I'm doing with wallpaper today is I have a lot of wallpaper. Some I bought and some I was gifted. So from Maria at Maria's Miscellany. So I picked out this piece because I've been wanting, I have a few pieces of things set aside that I want to put on the covers of journals. And I said, well, Wallpaper Wednesday, that's the perfect opportunity for me to see if I could use one of those pieces. And one of those pieces was this bird panel. It's like a little, I cut it out from something else. Oh, you know what I cut it out from? Just realized when I turn it over is I'm going to be using this fabric right here on the rest of it. Yes, okay, now that makes sense to me why it goes together so well, because that's what I got it from. I was just looking for, this is so funny, I have to tell you, I didn't turn this over, and I was looking at this and putting this little, all the colors together here, and I have this wallpaper, and I was like, I need something for the spine, and I went through several pieces of fabric, 2 drawers where I have my fabric organized, and I hope you find this funny as I do right now, because here's the fabric I picked out for the spine, and just now on video you saw me turn this over and I was like, oh my goodness, it's the fabric I picked out for the spine. No wonder it goes so well. That is too funny. Okay, anyway, back to the project. So I had this pretty bird scene here. It was on the front of that. It's a little apron. That fabric is kind of it reminds me of denim, but it's not that thick. It's more like tea towel fabric, you know, a little thicker cotton. So I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to make a cover out of this. This is my wallpaper that I picked out because it's pretty. It's got these kind of bluish gray leaves on it, and it goes with my overall colors here. And I get to use my wallpaper, and I get to use my bird, you know, little panel here, finally. So I'm going to, and this is going to be a little backing piece in back of it, little, you know, layered piece. So first of all, I think I'm going to go and sew this together. I just wanted to show you the whole construction of this here, of this cover. So I see this fabric is kind of, it's 2 layers. First of all, I'm not going to take it apart. I like that it makes it a little bit extra thick, but it's making it a little, I need to flatten it down. So I'm going to glue it on here onto a piece of file folder, and then I'm going to go sew around it so it's nice and flat, you know, for my cover. And then I'm going to sew it, well, maybe I'll do it all at one time, sew it onto here, onto this. And then I'm going to decide if I need to cut any of this off. This piece right here, this is Aida cloth for cross stitching that I had picked up. If I see this color, I love it because it looks like burlap, and it's nice, you know, textured material, and the color, and then I can fray the edges. So let's go ahead and get started, because I'm not going to have time to make the whole journal or start on a journal today. I'm just gonna, my goal is to get through and make this cover, okay, the whole thing. That's my goal. I never get through a whole cover in one video, but I would like to, and if we can, we'll see. I'll do a little pausing here and there, so maybe that'll help us get through, because I'd like to do the inside and outside, but if I don't get to the inside, at least we'll get the outside done and come back with another video on the rest, inside and the pages. So there's a little glue to hold that down. So let me get this over here so I don't get glue all over my table here. Okay, now I'm going to get this nice and flat on here. I cut it to fit this little piece of file folder, so it should fit right under here. Nice and flat. Let me spread this out. Okay, this is the idea, is to get this little bird piece nice and flat before this glue dries. Stretch it over here. Okay, now see how it's wrinkled in the middle right there? I'll pull that out and just kind of flatten everything out. Yeah, it's working. I just have to get it, because it's 2 layers and it's 2 separate layers. That's why it's trying to wrinkle. But I figured it had to help if I put it down. Now, if all else failed, I could take this second layer off. I just, you know, didn't want to if I didn't have to. I didn't think it was really necessary. So I think it's good. I think it's good. I like it. Okay, there we go. Now we'll put it on here. And see, it's going to go like this on here. I can't really put it on here yet because this is going to be wrapped around. See, my file folder here. I got enough to wrap around everything and then do the inside. So I think that I'm going to wait a second on this so I can make sure of the size and go ahead and get started on the cover here so we can decide, because in this part is a lot smaller than the wallpaper, and that's so I can wrap it around. Now on my wallpaper, I wanted to try this. I never did this before, but this is a little, it's like batting, but it's not batting. What it is I had an extra, like, it's a tree skirt. You know those tree skirts, those white tree skirts you can buy that at Christmas time, you know, at Walmart or wherever. I had one that I didn't use, and I thought, well, that would be some extra, like almost like batting, but it's really thin batting, you know, you can see right through it. But it adds a little, you know, softness, and I wanted to see how it did, if I could tell it was even there after I put the wallpaper on. So we're going to go ahead. This doesn't really have an up or down, this pattern. So let's go ahead and get started. And so we're going to sew this on too, but what I'm going to do is just go ahead and glue this down first. So I think I need to just go ahead and put some glue on here. I cut this to fit this fabric here. I cut it to fit the file folder, and then I glued it down with Fabri-Tac, and it's nice and flat, as you can see. It's all nice and flat and glued down. So that's where we are with this step. Now we're going to glue down our file folder, our this piece onto our wallpaper, okay? And usually what I'll do is just do 1/2 at a time, and that way I can just get 1/2 down and then work on the second half and the spine and everything. So, and it's a little different getting the glue to go onto here. You can see it kind of almost doesn't want to attach, but I had no trouble. So maybe I should put it onto the, I think what I'm going to do is put it on here. That might work out better. Okay, so I'm going to put it on here. That'll work out a lot better, because it wasn't wanting to, I could get it on there, it was just going to take, it seems like it was taking longer or something. So, I think I'm going to get it down and then spread it out before it dries. So let's get it on here. I got a glob here that's like trying to keep it from coming out. Okay. Trying to get it all over. And I'm going to sew this on too, but I just want this to be nice and flat, if you know what I mean, because I'm just sewing around the edges, so I want this middle part to be nice and flat, not like it's coming off or anything. Okay, I think that's good. I think that's good. I don't think I need to spread it out. I think I got it covered enough. So this is going to be, and I put glue on this half here. So I'm going to put that right down on my glue here, and then we should be really nice and glued by the time I get this down here. Okay, and my fabric again is on in between the wallpaper and the file folder that I used here. I'm just trying to get this kind of centered. Okay, I'm going to flatten that out. And let me get my little scraper here. This always takes longer than I think. I think I can just whip out a cover in 30-minute video and I never get finished. But, you know, got to do things right and get it glued down. You know, figure things out sometimes. So, okay, now we're going to do this half the same way. And I'm going to turn it so I can see under the spine here and get a little bit under there. Under the edge where the spine is going to be and folded, and then start coming out here. Okay. Okay. Now. Okay, let's get some glue coming out of here. A little bit hard to squeeze this morning. It's chilly here in North Carolina and in my house too. I got my little, I don't know if you can hear it, I got my little space heater on. You might be able to hear a little humming in the background. That's what that is. It's tiny, but it does help to heat up my little space in my craft room. I close my door and keep all the heat in here. The heater is probably on in the house. It's just, you know, I don't have it on super high where it's like really heating everything, because it's not that cold outside. It just, and once it gets warmer outside, it'll get warmer in here, but a little bit warmer in here, but it takes time to heat up in here, longer than it takes to heat up outside. We don't have the sun in here, right? Okay, that is probably good. Let me put a little bit more right here. Probably takes more time to put glue on than anything else. I probably should have paused, right? Okay, so I'm gonna, let's see, I think I'm gonna flatten this out. Okay, and then use my little scraper again. I want to get the spine down really tight. And this. All the sides and the middle and everything just down really tight. Okay, now I'm going to fold, and then we're going to go ahead and just, that folded nicely, so we're going to fold up the sides and the bottom now. Doing the bottom first. I want to move a little quickly because I really do want to get this done in the amount of time we have, if at all possible. So we will see. Let me go ahead and cut off my corners here a little bit. I don't want my file folder to show, but I want to eliminate some bulk here. So I'm going to just cut off the corner like that. And I'm going to cut off this little piece right here too. I say whenever I do this on video, this part right here where you fold the paper around, I probably always do it different, just because I'm kind of just looking at it and seeing what I need to do. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you can do that, or you can do it the way I'm doing it right now, or look at my other videos and see which way you like to do it best, because I always kind of just play it by ear and just see what I think needs to be cut off, so that I don't have too much bulk right here at the corners and everything folds down nicely. So I've got, I folded up that and the top, so I do want to add a little bit more, a little angle right here. See, like that and like this. A little angle right there in the corners. Kind of like when you're making an envelope and you make those angles to fold your flaps. If you've ever made an envelope out of just a book page or something. It almost kind of reminds me of that a little bit, you know, those angles that you cut. Okay, so a little bit of Fabri-Tac here. There's plenty in this bottle. It's just very thick right now. Okay, and like I said, I'm sewing here, so I really just have to have enough on here to get it to stick down while I'm sewing, really. Okay. All right, that's good there. Now the bottom. Whoa! Oh my goodness, I'm getting carried away. I hope you're crafting with me today. I'm doing some stuff with, if you have some wallpaper, or you could do the same thing with some, scrapbook paper, you know what I mean? Or fabric. Like cardstock scrapbook paper would almost be like using wallpaper, or your fabric kind of, but not, it's just a little bit more. Oh, that one came up. Okay. Oh, I might need some, I need a little bit of something to hold this down while it's drying. Okay, let me grab, I got some binder clips right behind me here. Let me grab one. Of course I get one with a paper clip stuck on there. There we go. Okay. Let me see if that helps. A couple of binder clips. So this can dry for a minute while we're getting the rest of it done. Did I put enough glue here? Let me put a little bit more glue there. I think it's like a dry already too. So get on there. Yeah, I just need it to stick down so it's all nice and in place when I go to sew it, at least, Okay, so that's going to be that. And we'll hold that down while it's drying again. Let's see, binder clip. Binder clip with another paper clip stuck on it. I have all my binder clips and paper clips in this one little container behind me. So let's see, here's a little something here, another little clip. Yeah, I got all kind of binder clips back here, as you can see. Okay, now we're ready to move on. Let's turn it this way. Nice sharp fold there, and you can use a bone folder if you feel like you need to on the edge. Okay, now, let me get some binder clips again, or paper clips, or something here to hold the side down, and the other side. All right, paper clips and binder clips everywhere. I think that's enough. Okay. Okay. Let's see. I want to make sure there's not too much bulk here. It should be all right. Now I can't wait to sew it down because it really needs to be sewn down. But I think it's just the wallpaper, you know what I mean? Like when I do this with scrapbook paper, it doesn't give me any kind of problem. I didn't have to use, like I just did that one writing journal where I recovered the Better Homes and Gardens book, and it did not give me any trouble with gluing it down. And it was cardstock scrapbook paper, and it just glued right down, no problem. Okay. All right, that's a lot of binder clips, I know, but I just wanted to stay where I put it for a second. Okay, now this side. I just cut the wallpaper about what you can see, maybe a little over, it's probably not even an inch wider than the file folder piece. And so it's about a little more than a ½ inch and all the way around to get the file folder piece I needed, the size I needed to go around. And I decided on the size because I measured the file folder first because I wanted it 6 inches wide and 8 inches long. So that's how this size got determined. I need a baby wipe. There we go. Put a binder clip on here. And then we're going to, let's see, I think it was like this. All right, so we're good here. Now we're going to get our fabric ready for the inside. So I'm going to cut a piece of fabric, and I'm going to use my pinking shears to cut that and get a nice pinking sheared edge for the inside. And I already figured out that I have plenty here. So it's going to be this piece right here that I'm going to cut right here. So I'm going to lay this on there, and I need a piece exactly to fit right inside this cover, okay? So I'm going to start taking this off, these binder clips off, and then I'm going to put this down and cut around the edges with my pinking shears. But I'm going to pause the video while I do that so we can save a little time, because my time is going quickly, and like I said, I want to try to get this done. So I'll save a few minutes here and I'll be right back. Hey guys, I wanted to show you something real quick before I move on to cutting out the fabric. I took the binder clips off, and I noticed the apron had these little, apron strings. And I was like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity for me to add some little strings for the closure, right? So I'm just putting a little fabric tack here on this part before we cover it up, and adding my little apron strings. I took one of the apron strings and cut it in half. And that's because it wasn't, I would put it all the way through, but it wasn't long enough to go all the way through and still have room to tie, for the closure. So I'm doing it like this. I cut it in half, put a little fabric tack there, and now I'm going to cut my fabric, okay? And I'll be back. Okay guys, I didn't want to leave you out on a loop here too long, so I cut my fabric all around with the pinking shears to fit inside my cover. Now I'm going to take my fabric tack, put it all over here, glue this down, and then I'm going to sew it, and I'll be back to show you the results. Be right back. Okay guys, I'm going to show you where I'm at. I got the fabric inside glued down. I cut a piece for the spine and glued that down. Then I took my front cover piece back, and I measured to see where I wanted it on the cover here. And I cut a little bit off the side over here because it was a little bit too wide for the cover, I felt. And so it's going to go about like this. And I went ahead and frayed. I cut it here, and then I went ahead and frayed my edges. This Aida cloth frays real easily. You can just pull strings off, and then you have your frayed piece. So I'm going to go sew this together and glue this on my cover. But first I'm going to sew around the cover. I'm going to go sew around the cover, and then I'll show you how it looks without the cover piece, and then come back and show you what's next. I'll be right back. Okay guys, I am back. I went ahead, I left you where I had, I think I left you where I had the fabric and the spine fabric glued on, okay? I'm not sure where I left you, so I'm just going to explain the rest of it here. I had the fabrics glued on, spine and inside. I sewed around the edges with a zigzag stitch. I kind of went and looked at my thread to make sure of what color thread I wanted to use, because I kind of wanted to use blue, but I didn't have any, like I have navy blue, but it looks like black. So I figured, well, instead of trying to match the blue, I would just use black. So that's what I did. And you can't even really hardly even see the black on here. It blended in really well. So I just zigzagged all the way around the edges after I glued it on, which you saw. And I took it out after I was done with the edges and just zigzag stitched right here and right here, because this was already stitched here and here from going around the edge. And then I was trying to figure out the cover. I was going to come back to you and show you how I did this piece, because I was thinking I was going to sew it, and I was like, well, there's already stitching here. See how there's already stitching around here from where I took it off that apron. And so I was like, well, I don't really need more stitching for the stitched look, because it already has stitching on there. So let me see what I can do with just gluing it together. So I glued the Aida cloth onto this first to see if that would hold together, and it did. It glued on really nice, no problem, okay? And I said, well, let me see if it'll glue on. If all else fails, I'll sew it on, through the fabric and everything onto the journal. But it did glue on. I put a lot of glue underneath the Aida cloth and in between the Aida cloth and the wallpaper. And it does feel, it's still, I just did it, so it's still probably drying, but I put a ton of glue fabric tack on there just because, this Aida cloth has holes in it, and I felt like maybe it was seeping in there a little bit. And I didn't want to put it on the wallpaper because I didn't want it up here and going around where I didn't want it. So I just wanted it where I wanted it, under this picture. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to explain in case you're doing this or in case you do this, any difficulties I had. So I just used a ton of Fabri-Tac under this layer of, you know, Aida cloth. I wanted my kind of frayed part loose, so there's no glue there, but it's all under this piece here. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory, but if you have any questions, ask me in the comments. So this is going to be a journal cover. We made the whole journal cover today. I think first time I ever did that on video, which, you know, I paused a lot to get it done, but we've got tie closures and everything, and this is going to be a nice little bird journal hopefully soon. But first I got to work on Christmas drills. I want to show you how it ties though. So nice. It's sewn down and it's glued and sewn across, so it's nice and sturdy, the ties are. And so eventually when it's a journal, it will tie. So nice, right? So it'll be a one signature journal. Any other tips I might have as far as making this was when I went to put this on the spine, I just folded this nicely. I made sure I had a nice point right here. You can put a bone folder or your scissors in there and just make sure it's tight right there, because it wanted to kind of, you know, bunch up. Not bunch up, I don't know what the word is to describe it, but I just made sure it was tight and pointy right there because I knew I wanted one signature and I wanted that to be like this, not any other kind of shape. So I did that to make sure my shape and my point was right. And then I lined this, since this had a line on it, this fabric had this line on it, I was able to line that up on my spine and then get my fabric straight around that you know, that fold there. So anyway, you can kind of get an idea of what it will look like when it's a journal. I think it'll be super cute, little bird journal. And yeah, I've been wanting to do this for a really long time, so I didn't know if it would be, if I would use wallpaper. I knew I would use wallpaper or upholstery fabric, and I didn't know which one. So since this wallpaper open collab came up by Jovi, I thank you, Jovi, for the perfect opportunity and motivation to go ahead and pull out my wallpaper and get this all together. So thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. Leave me any questions and comments in the below this video, and I will be glad to answer. And just stay tuned. I'm getting ready to work on my December daily, so you'll see that coming up in the next few days, and other Christmas journals. So thank you for watching, and see you next time. Have a great day.